Alright, what's going on, guys? Trevor back again here to bring another video. It's a beautiful day today. Today is May 11th, 2012. It's a Friday when I'm shooting this. I'm going to do 10 videos today. I'm going to upload them one video a day, so I have my trusty energy drink here to do it, and by the time I'm done, I'll probably be pretty tired, but you won't see these videos for at least a week or so by the time I upload it. By the time I upload it, it'll probably be, let's see, probably Monday or Tuesday-ish. Yeah, I'll pick one of those days, Monday or Tuesday-ish, to make it available. So this video is going to be talking about my top 10 favorite comic book heroes, and then tomorrow, or right after this, I'm going to film and then put it up tomorrow, will be my top 10 favorite comic book villains. Okay? So, yeah, I think it makes sense to do the heroes and then do the villains afterwards. So let's start at number 10. Now, I had to go through a lot of critical thinking to come up with this list because you know, there's just so many cool characters in comic books, and it's not just limited to Marvel or DC. I mean, this encompasses everything. I also have taken into consideration anime because anime and manga really are the same thing. It's just Japanese comic books, really, and the way they do things in black and white in manga instead of the way we do things in North America. So this is not just limited to North American comic books like most lists are. This one will encompass pretty much everything, every comic book I can think of. So without further ado, let's get into it. So number 10 is going to be Iron Man. I mean, there's really no, like, I really don't have to describe why Iron Man is such a cool character. One of the best heroes, I think, in the Marvel U. I think the character of Tony Stark and the way Robert Downey Jr. has portrayed him in the movies has really elevated that character to a new place because, you know, years ago, he was not really a Marvel main A-list character. He was more of like a B-list or C-list character. But just because of how cool he is and the you know, the opportunities for Marvel to capitalize on his type of character with all his different armors and his personality and all that kind of stuff, just brought him up. I mean, it just makes sense for him to be, you know, to be elevated to an A-list character, and he's on this list, whereas some of the other Avengers aren't. So moving on from there, number 9 is going to be Raphael from Teenage Ninja Turtles. I couldn't make a top 10 favorite characters list if I didn't put on, you know, a turtle, and I figured between all the turtles, which one's my favorite? I think I gotta go with Raphael. I mean, all the way back since the first Turtles movie in the early 90s, you know, his whole badass character arc in that movie and also in the comic books and everything, kind of the type of turtle that doesn't take shit from anybody. I like the size. I like how he holds the size in between his two fingers so that they kind of stick up, sort of like Wolverine's claws type things. The cartoon show, the 80s cartoon Turtles show, is it really isn't that reflective of the comic books. There is a comic book series called the Turtles Archies, which are similar to that 80s show. But the actual comic book is much more badass than that show. There's blood, there's gore, there's killing, there's all kinds of stuff like that, like when they defeat the Shredder at the end of the first issue. Shredder is actually defeated in the comic book at the end of the first issue. And they get messed up, man. They mess each other up. Like, they get cut up everywhere and all kinds of stuff. It's not like the 80s show, and I think that Raphael sort of exemplifies that because he's the most badass of all the characters, you know, in the Turtles. So I had to go with him. That's number 9. So number 8 is going to be Jean Grey from the X-Men. This is the highest female on my list, and you know, for a good reason. I put her at number 1 in terms of females and comic book characters, I think. Even still, even though in Marvel Comics she's been dead now for, like, how many years has it been? I don't know, 5 years or something, 4, 5, 6 years, something like that. It's been a while. Ever since Grant Morrison's run on New X-Men, she's pretty much been dead or out of the picture. I wonder if they'll bring her back in Avengers vs. X-Men. I could see that, you know, have the ending bring back Jean or something like that, because nobody in comics ever really truly dies. Jean might be the one character that they leave dead, you know, that they just leave that way. I also liked her portrayal in the movies, in the X-Men movies. I didn't think it was too bad. Obviously, X3 had a lot of problems with things that she did, killing Professor X and all the other stuff, but she's, in my opinion, she's the best female comic book character there is. definitely a cool heroine. And always loved the the dialogue between Cyclops and Wolverine fighting back and forth over Jean. So number 8 got to be Jean. Number 7, just mentioned, is Cyclops. A lot of people don't like Cyclops. They actually hate Cyclops. But if you've been reading X-Men after New X-Men, with the development of, even before that, I like Cyclops. But most people, if you read that and you see how the character of Cyclops has evolved since then, since New X-Men, me personally, I think he's one of the coolest and most badass comic book characters there is. There's a story arc. I mean, there's just so many different examples I can give you. But one I can think of right off the top of my head was a recent storyline, I think it was last year, where vampires were after mutants because their blood was different, and Blade was sort of there, and Cyclops shoots Blade in the back with like a zoomed-in laser and in the spine, and or right in the back of the neck or something, and knocks him unconscious. And there's all kinds of different things that Cyclops does that's just really cool and badass. And I think he's a great character. I think he's a great leader for the X-Men. He's sort of like Captain America's version of the X-Men, just maybe not quite as cool as Cap, but in my opinion, he's one of the coolest comic book characters. I really like Cyclops a lot, and I don't think the movies did him justice at all. I mean, Cyclops is a tough guy. I mean, him against Wolverine, I think, would be a really good fight. I probably have to go with Wolverine on that one, but I think that Cyclops is a tough match for almost anybody in the Marvel Universe, just because of how powerful his optic blasts are, his tactics, his mind, his training. He's a great character. I love Cyclops. I love the whole leader aspect of him for the X-Men. I think it's necessary to have that type of character in the X-Men. You could take any other character out of the X-Men, but Cyclops is always there. He's always there, and I think he always probably will be. I don't know if I'd like the X-Men without Cyclops, actually. That'd be interesting. So that's number 7. Number 6, I wasn't sure whether or not to put this character on the hero side or the villain side, but right now in DC Comics, he is a hero, so to speak, and that is Green Lantern Sinestro. He doesn't necessarily have to be a Green Lantern, just Sinestro in general. And I thought, yeah, I think I'm going to put him on the hero side. He's not necessarily a villain, at least not of lately. Early on, yeah, he was, but not in the last few years. So to stay current with what's going on right now this year, I put Sinestro on this side. So yeah, number 6, Sinestro. Hal Jordan is not on this list. I don't like Hal Jordan as much as I like Sinestro. If you've been reading the new Green Lantern by Jeff Johns, it's pretty much shown that Sinestro is just in terms of intelligence, is so far above Hal Jordan, it's comical. It's funny to see. And I think that he is one of the most interesting characters in any comic book at all. And if he was if a character like him came to the Marvel Universe, there wouldn't be a lot of guys that could tangle with him. I mean, maybe Thor could give him a good fight, a few others, some of the more superpower ones in Marvel, but almost everybody else he'd wipe the floor with. He's just such a cool character. I like the whole how he formed his own Yellow Lantern Corps and then declared war on the Green Lanterns for what they had done. And I like that. He's a rebel. He's not. I don't view him as evil. You know what I mean? Because war is sort of one of those things where I don't know. It's kind of complicated in terms of you can't really look at it as black and white, good and evil. Because when you declare war against somebody for a reason, which he had because of the Guardians really aren't doing that well of a job, and right now they're going to be shown as almost evil probably in this storyline, and been lying and doing all kinds of other things. You got to respect a guy like Sinestro who goes on his own, forms his own corps, and then decides we're going to take him down and go after him. I don't think he's evil per se, not necessarily. At least not the way Jeff Johns writes him. Before that, yeah, all those other years of stuff when everything was black and white. But I think comics have been more complicated now than they used to be. So I prefer to think of Sinestro as a good guy or as a maybe an anti-hero, I guess. So that's number 6, Sinestro. Number 5 is going to be Wolverine. I was at the beginning he was higher on the list, and I kind of moved him down a little bit. I like Wolverine a lot. Wolverine's a character that 10 or 15 years ago he wasn't really that popular, but recently, and maybe in the last I think it was after the success of the 90s X-Men the Animated Series show that it catapulted Wolverine to a new status, and then the movies incorporate him and sort of almost made him the main character if there is one of the X-Men franchise movies. Hugh Jackman does an amazing job, I think, of portraying him. The scenes in X2 where Wolverine's in the kitchen with Iceman, and then he turns around and Hugh Jackman stabs the guy with all 6 claws right through the chest in the fridge and then he goes over and he stabs the guy in the foot around the corner. Some of the coolest scenes in all of movies, for me anyway. In terms of comic books, Wolverine, he's got tons of different comic books. He's on all these different teams. Just a great character. You guys all know Wolverine. I won't go on more than that because I could go on forever about it. Number 4, just above Wolverine, is Captain America. I really like the character of Captain America. You guys know I'm not a big fan of Chris Evans. I think they could have done a better job casting Cap, because Cap is one of my favorite characters. I would have liked to see an actor who I think would really suit the role, and I don't think Chris Evans does. Captain America is a hero that, even just like Superman, or even more so than Superman, commands respect, is your atypical good guy, is a leader, is great when it comes to battle strategies, experience, just an awesome character. I love Brubaker's run on Captain America. I love the old Captain America movies. I actually have a few of the early Marvel animated direct DVDs with Cap on it, and it's kind of funny because it's just like a comic, and they just move the mouths on them. And just some really fun stuff. I like the fact that he, there's scenes of him punching Hitler in the face and all this kind of stuff. I really like that stuff. I think that's really cool. So yeah, you gotta love Captain America. Great character. That's number 4. Number 3 is going to be from The Walking Dead, Rick Grimes. Of course, you guys know I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. I think that the character of Rick Grimes in the comic books, the TV show, we're not there yet, but eventually it will be applicable to that too. I think that out of all the characters in The Walking Dead, Rick is obviously going to be the one that sticks out the most to everybody, seeing as how he's the protagonist, he's the main character. Everything that's happening is happening around him. For the most part, we usually follow him in the story, and everything that he's been through, still wanting to survive and still wanting to still having hope and wanting to build a new world and all this kind of stuff. Rick Grimes is a great character. I absolutely love Rick Grimes. Number 2. And this is why I said that I'm going to be including anime on this list as well, is Goku. Has to be Goku. Almost put him at number 1, but there's a character that just narrowly beats him out, in my opinion. Goku, again, just like many of these other characters like Captain America, is your atypical good guy. He just wants to stop evil. He wants to protect people. Everything is so simple with him. He doesn't need all the technology. He doesn't need all that stuff. He lives in a house in the woods, and he just loves to train. He loves to help people, animals too, defend those he cares about, and obviously is on this list is probably the most powerful guy of any of them. I also like the fact that in Dragon Ball Z they show the training aspect of Goku, and it's sort of, it's kind of reminiscent of real life, where when you first start out in life and you're doing something, whatever it is, it could be, a YouTube channel, it could be a job, or you just finished high school, this kind of stuff. As you're going through life, you're not always going to be the best right off the bat at something, and that's what bugs me about Superman. He was always the best, right away. Goku wasn't. When he started out as a kid and this kind of stuff, a wildling in the forest, he was not the best at anything. He became the best because of his work ethic, because of how hard he trained, and yes, he is a Saiyan and all that kind of stuff, but he's not an elite class Saiyan. He's not a prince like Vegeta. He's not one of these other characters that are supposed to be strong. He's not supposed to be strong. He's supposed to be weak, extremely weak, but because he trains so hard and he's got that work ethic and he works so hard, it's inspiring to see a character like that be able to do that, be able to transcend his genetics and become something even greater, and do all of these things like save the Earth countless times and all these other things. I don't see how you can make a list and not put Goku on it. That's just my opinion. If you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, that is. And then number 1, of course, you guys know probably who it's going to be. It's got to be Batman. There's nobody else, I think, that can come close to Batman. As you'll notice, Superman is not on this list. Not on this list at all. I think they need to fix him. He almost got in there at number 10, but I took him right off. I'm like, no. Batman has to be number 1, my favorite, in my opinion, the best character ever created in any genre, comic books or otherwise. Comes from, obviously, the tragic beginning with his parents and all that kind of stuff. And, I mean, when you look at the dynamic of Batman and the Joker, it's kind of funny because they're opposites to what you'd expect. Batman is a hero, but he's dark and brooding, and he's not usually happy. He's not a happy person. He's not Goku. He doesn't, jump around and have a smile on his face all the time. Usually Batman's the guy who's pretty damn depressed or pissed off, and he vents, in the strangest way you think. That's by going and helping people, which makes him, I guess, feel better, give him some sense of, self-worth and like he's doing something. And it sort of is that kind of story where you have a character that defies the odds. Yes, he has the money, and a lot of people do in the real world and that kind of stuff. But when you have a tragic beginning like that, most of the time when that happens to someone in the real world, that person will not become a hero at all. That person will become a villain or the opposite. Even if they have a lot of money, that's going to mess them up pretty bad. It's interesting to me that he's a character that psychologically is messed up, but still acts in this way and still holds himself to the highest levels in terms of self-discipline and respect for others and empathy, and able to do these types of things. I think that's as inspiring as Goku. Having a character that, by all intents and purposes, should not be a hero, should not be successful in their life because of what's happened to them and what the city Gotham has done to him. But despite all the odds, still does it anyway. So that's why I have to put Batman at #1. I could probably do a 10-minute video just talking about Batman. Actually, I kind of have. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys. Tomorrow we'll do tomorrow, not Walking Dead. Tomorrow we're going to do top 10 favorite villains. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what your guys' top 10 favorite comic book heroes are. Feel free to write in the comments, do a video response if you like. I will approve. I'll set them to automatically approve on this video. Please, I'd like to watch them, so go ahead if you'd like to. And that's it for this one. See you guys tomorrow. Later, guys. Peace.